have a very special session for you today. Obviously, we have a tariff war across the world, and businesses like us, small businesses, are going crazy a little bit. We have clients coming to us asking questions about what to do, how to survive this time of recession or tariffs. And I don't really like the idea of survival. I like growth. So in this session, we are going to talk to Rhonda Apollonia. He's a friend of mine and also helping me with the business side for a long time. He's also working with the big boys, top 500 companies in the world. Today, we are going to present you with 5 strategies that you will be able to apply on your business, at least some of them. Every business is a bit different. And probably you want to take action on some of them. They will be able not only that you will survive this time, but also to excel and make more money while your competition is suffering. Hello, Mr. Rhonda Apollonia, how are you today?
Hi, Lira, how are you?
Very good. Okay, so talk to us about strategy number 1. What are we doing there?
So I think if we think about, times of uncertainty that businesses don't like, whether you're a big company or small company, both are affected. I think just the way that a larger company responds might be different. So it's just they've got a little bit more experience and a lot more people with experience there. Many are publicly traded, so they have a number that they have to hit no matter what. And so we kind of realize business doesn't stop. So you can't just stare at like the headlights coming at you like a deer. Right. You've got to keep moving. You've got to do something, but you do have to pivot. You have to do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing and hoping that the market is going to change for you. It's not going to do that. So the first thing that you really want to think about, where do I really start to focus? And part of it is going to be what industries are not affected or affected the least. That would be the first thing you want to think about. So, for example, we know the industries that are obviously being hit. Right now, they're thinking, "Oh my goodness, my revenue is going to stop." Not really a fertile ground to go and ask for them to spend. Right? They're going to want to, even if you have a great solution, they're going to say, "This is amazing. Come back in 6 months when I can see what's going on." So you want to pick industries that are less affected. So maybe like healthcare, for example, right? I think the last time you and I were talking, I think you said funeral homes, right? It's like, look, if somebody passes away, you're getting a casket. So it might be that instead of the $25,000 casket, it's the $5,000.
But you need one. Yeah.
Yeah. So their revenue will be affected, but I think for the most part, it's not as affected as someone else. And then some, if you think about where truly wealthy people will shop. So if somebody's buying a $100,000, Louis Vuitton bag, that's probably not going to stop them if it's $108,000, right? So there's industries that are least affected and more affected, and that just increases your odds. So if you're in an industry where you can point the cannon, as I say, in a different direction, a different target, where your odds are higher, that would obviously be strategy number 1.
Yeah. Also government, they will just print more. Right. And they're bottom line, the biggest winners of all those tariffs, because they collect the tariffs. You and me pay for it.
Yeah.
So they will have money. I also see a nice pattern since the year 2000. I see that whenever the market is in some kind of a recession mode, the government is starting to create programs to revive the market. So stay tuned for those as well, because they will come and you can tap into those programs.
Yeah, I like to say the government never runs out of my money. Right.
So strategy number 1, point the cannon to the right industries, basically market or put your effort into companies that have some money versus the ones that are in bad shape, and then they will not take any action until we'll know what's going on.
Yeah, and you made a good point there. that I just kind of assumed everybody knows, but that means you change your strategy, right? Your marketing strategy, your sales strategy. That might be, it might mean if you have customer stories that you're showcasing, you change those. If you have a certain presentation that you're making, when people come to your intro call, you might have to change that to use their vernacular, right? You don't call in healthcare, you don't call them customers, you call them patients, for example. So you want to make those changes. If you say, I'm going to point the cannon toward healthcare, for example, then you want to increase your odds by marketing there, by marketing the right message there, etc.
Awesome. So strategy number 2.
It's the obvious one, cut costs, right? So cut costs, big enterprise does it as well. And there's kind of like, if you can put it into 3 buckets, right? So the first one is, can I stop the spending that's a little bit more discretionary? So we were going to take the team to Las Vegas this year. Well,
Maybe
we cannot.
not.
We cannot take them to Las Vegas, right? Or we were going to attend conferences or things like that. That's an easy one. It doesn't really affect your business, and you can cut those. The next one down from there is consolidation. So technological consolidation, right?
That's huge, yeah.
Yeah, that is massive. So that gets split into 2 as well. So there's one where, one probably where you fit in really well, like Zoho fits in really well, which, let me do the other one first, which is the one that people don't like. They look at it and they kind of say, okay, I have to get rid of, 2 of these technologies that I'm using and I really like, but I have to cut my costs. And so you're sort of trying to figure out which one of the fingers on your hand you're going to cut off. And there's no good decision, right? There's no good answer there. But the one right before that, that's not bad, is, can I consolidate? So I know that Zoho, for example, has, I don't know, what do you have, like 40 applications?
Yeah, almost like 50 applications. Yeah.
50 applications, right? So you've got your version of Slack or Teams.
Yeah, we have Slack, it's Click, and we have the signature, which is Zoho Sign. We can replace lots and lots. So it's about $800 worth of applications will be eventually 37, which most of the audience that is watching this podcast right now are on Zoho One. So they have the opportunity to save cost without putting even $1 out of pocket. Lots of subscriptions. And also, as you go through those subscriptions, they are integrated in a very nice way. So less copy paste, less manpower work, which also you want to reduce in manpower. It all works for you. So going with as many applications is good. We see in times like that the market is it's a bit funny. We see companies coming to us with, help me move from, let's say, Gmail to Zoho Mail. So I will save like $5,000-$10,000 there. Help me move my DocuSign license, and so on. So this is right now super active on our side.
How do you save money with Gmail? Isn't that free?
No. So you have companies on a Zoho, on a Google Workspace or Workplace, whatever it's called. So this is their paid version of Gmail.
Okay.
It's between $6 to $20 or something like that per user, depending on the license level.
I see.
So it's
expensive.
Okay.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So that's that's the painless one, right? So if I've got, some application that's allowing me to do signatures and emails and video calls like we're doing, and I can just come over here and replace something that I'm paying $100 a month and $37 a month per license, and I got 4 licenses, that's a painless way of cutting costs. The more painful ones are when you're actually giving up something, right? So you definitely want to be the consolidating first. You want to get rid of the discretionary, the going to Vegas first. And then if you're stuck, then you move down to getting rid of stuff that you actually need to cover those, just to stay afloat.
I will tell you also one more thing that we're doing. So once a year, I meet my accountant. We are going over our expenses, and any recurring expense, we put it aside. Eventually, we build a list with 50 different recurring subscriptions, and we are checking each one of them. In most cases, we need those subscriptions, but maybe the user count is not correct, so we can reduce a few licenses. In some cases, we have subscriptions that we don't even know about them. So someone that worked the beginning of the year signed up for a subscription, and that's it. And now we are just paying for it. And sometimes we have 1, 2, 3 years subscriptions that we don't even need or use. And those will be thousands of dollars going to the garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. So it seems like there's sort of a mindset, right? And I think we're all in that mindset, right? You're either, oh my goodness, I have to do things better, or push, let's just grow. And it's hard to be in both states of mind at the same time. So times of uncertainty do focus. They focus your attention on, hey, let's stop wasting. Let's start doing things a little bit more efficiently and effectively. So that's kind of the silver lining, if you can call it that.
Yep. Okay. Number 3.
So the third one is increase effectiveness, which is kind of what we're talking about now. And how do I increase my effectiveness across the board? So let's start off with the one that's the most uncomfortable, right? First of all, the most powerful as well is automation.
Yeah, that's huge.
So there's a lot of talk about AI and automation. It can replace some roles, but for small business, I'm thinking probably not. It probably doesn't replace jobs, but it increases effectiveness. And what I mean by that is there's things that are like $5 an hour jobs. And then there are things that are $50 an hour jobs. So if you're paying an employee, whatever, $25 an hour, you don't want them doing $5 an hour jobs, but they probably have a third of their day
Doing the
busy
$5.
doing that.
Absolutely.
Right? So you can use automation, like technology caught up, and probably your competitors are doing it, where you're really just rolling out automation where it's feasible, where it's possible to get rid of those $5 an hour jobs so that my employee can focus on the higher level stuff that's really going to help my business, right?
Yep.
So things like if somebody signs up for an email, if you're still manually replying, or signs up for a meeting and you're manually replying with a thank you, waste of time. If you're still, going back and forth by email to pick a day and a time that works for everybody, waste of time. Like, this is all automated, right? So all types of meeting scheduling, reminders, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's also super easy to change.
Yeah.
We are now, I have another company, it's an AI company, and we have AI receptionist to receive phone calls. And we have also a chatbot that knows how to communicate with prospects and how to book appointments. And our assistant, her name is Renata. She's fantastic. Obviously, she's not going anywhere. She's staying in the company, but the role is going to change.
Right.
So she is helping us now create the AI to be basically replacing her existing job. And she is moving to a better position because she is, as I said before, she is awesome. So I do see how you take quality employees and you upgrade them because they have the abilities, but from the other side, you don't have the luxury of taking this resource and do something else with them because they're fully booked.
Right. So the last time you and I were talking, we were talking about having a strategic partner, right? As opposed to like that idea of small businesses get vendors. Yeah, they don't see any different. It's like I buy my bananas from you or I buy my bananas from them. The problem is that in most cases, you're not buying a banana. So if you're buying paper for your photocopier, yeah, you're right. But in most cases, especially with technology, what enterprise companies look for is a strategic partner. So somebody that can come and say, well, I do business in your vertical, so I understand your industry. I know technology inside out. You know your business inside out. And then let's partner as though I'm almost like an employee of yours to help you achieve all these targets and all of these goals that you have and help you navigate around the challenges. So that strategic partner is really an important idea that a lot of small businesses, it takes them a while to wrap their head around. But once they taste it, they realize, oh, I should have been doing this all along. So one of the things that strategic partner would do is show you all the places where you can inject automation and also show you places where you can improve in your marketing, because you're probably, as a small business, you're not getting the full story. And that's,
Right.
people don't know this, but that's where you and I first met like 15 years ago, where, we had a business that was providing us with leads. And then you came and you showed us that really this leads were not all created equal. And you explained how the other business that was selling to us, how their business model is combining some good leads to keep me happy and some cheap leads to make them
Great
profitable.
traffic. Yeah.
And so this recipe, kind of worked out for both of us, but not really for us, because we just kept putting more money, and we saw the growth was really small. So that when you turn on the technological strategic partner, really doesn't sell you leads. So they would come in and help make the leads more effective by giving you visibility into your marketing. And I would say that's another component of effectiveness. And I think it's more important even than automation. When you're in go, go, go mode, it's like more leads, more leads, more leads, more leads. When you get into times of uncertainty, you say, okay, well, a good portion of these leads have been crap and I haven't been saying anything. Now's the time to really put the magnifying glass on those leads with the use of technology to find out, where am I wasting money so that I can cut that.
I like to see more things happening, more conversions, more proposal being followed up by the system, more leads being contacted, ability to track how fast we are calling leads. I want to see things that eventually will give me better conversion. So quality lead comes in, quick response time, quality proposal, quality follow-ups. You kill your competition. You're grabbing those deals. And this is where I really like to see the automation. But I will stop with automation because I can be on this topic all day. So let's jump to the next point. What's the next strategy?
So the next one is, can you offer your customers a rip and replace, right? So what does that mean? Well, can you go in and do kind of what we were talking about, the technological consolidation, right? Can you go in and say, you're already paying $1,000 for this, but I provide the same service for $300. So that savings, just know that we're not the only ones that thought of cutting costs. Everybody else there is thinking about it too. So that message is going to resonate very, very well right now. If you're in an industry, a business, a service that can do that, now's the time to play that card.
Yeah, in my industry, we see, actually, it's not only now, in the last few years, you see good migration from Salesforce, from HubSpot, the expensive CRMs, you see them coming to Zoho, because you are getting something at least the same quality or maybe better and pay less. And the pay less is not only for the license, it's also for the development. As you know, you are on Salesforce. It's tens of thousands of dollars for every small fart that you need to have on the system. In Zoho, it's not really that expensive. So we see it there. Also, something that I saw with my customers in recession times, let's say 2008, 2009, 2000, in COVID time, people will continue to use the things that they used before, but they will spend less. So if someone was going to $100 per dish restaurant, they will continue to go to restaurants. It will just be $30 per dish, not $100. So sometimes you can offer your customers before they're leaving you. So right now you're selling me IT services and you're charging me $50 per user per month for your services. When you see those type of situations that the market is going down, you should come to me and say, if you have our time, just know that I have also packages for $15 per user per month, and we can work with those until this situation is going out.
Right.
And then you're not losing me as a client versus me finding a cheaper solution. I will get less, obviously,
Yeah.
but then you lose me completely as a client.
You're right. I mean, we have something in Toronto that started, I don't even know if we still have it, but many years ago, they found out that, during the winter months, like I think it was January, February, nobody went out to restaurants, right? It's freezing cold, snow in the streets. Who feels like going out? So the restaurants got together and they started something called Winterlicious. And it's exactly what you said, right? Like they said, well, we're an expensive restaurant. The average dish here was like whatever, $40, $50. But we're going to put a package together where you get an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert for whatever, $35 or $40. And then people would go because you get to sample, some of the food that maybe you don't, you didn't go to before. And what it did was it sustained those businesses for January, February, March. And then in April, they got rid of it because people were eating again and their restaurant was full. So that's a really good one. I think the other one too is looking at it from the reverse side, which is small businesses. They know other small business owners, and usually they're not in competition with each other, right? That's a little bit harder in enterprise. Like I might get together with people that have my similar role, but I have to watch what industry they're in. Like we're probably competitors. I have to watch what I say to you. In many cases, enterprise, like I told you, very, very big on strategic partnerships. So I don't want to tell you who my supplier is. Like that's a competitive advantage to me. So we don't have the same opportunities as, say, a small business where maybe your clients, some of your clients, and you might have somebody who's in the restaurant business and somebody else who's in the dental business and somebody else who's in the real estate business. There's no reason why you guys can't get together and say, hey, you know what? Why don't we approach a company and buy something together? So we'll go there and we'll say, listen, we're really interested in buying whatever X. And, by myself, I can only buy, 30, but with 5 of us, we're buying,
to get a better price.
We're buying 250, and the vendor at the other end would be delighted to have a bigger price, and you can get a better price there. So that's another strategy where you don't have to hit the brakes on spending. You have to be a little bit smart about it, but you might be able to get better deals as well.
What's next?
Last one is customer retention, right? So really,
I love this one.
You should be worried about this throughout the year. But again, it's unless you have somebody devoted to that, it usually is kind of like number 3 on the list. In a small business is trying to do everything, right? So they can't always afford to have a department dedicated to that, but it is least expensive. So again, it goes back to cutting costs, right? Remember, where am I pointing my cannon? So it's cheaper to sell more product to an existing customer than it is to find a new customer. So that should be part of the process. And everything we talked about applies, right? You're going to an existing customer, you're retaining them, you're using automation to keep them, we say the word nurtured, kind of to keep in touch with them. Get your customers like a process, get your employees in an automated process to make sure that they're reaching out. So it's kind of everything that we've talked about today, but, kind of pointed toward existing customers.
So I found something interesting with customer retention. I know that it's something that companies can learn how to do, but it needs to come from management to care about clients. And I know it sounds cheesy. Yes, you care about your clients. Some business owners, they're coming to the game because they really love to help others. Some people come to make money. People that come to make money, they will need to have in place systems to have client retention. People that love their clients, they really want to help them grow. Money, of course, it's part of the game, but it's not the game. Mm-hmm. It's part of it. They don't really need to do too much. I will give you some examples. We are creating lots of value to our customers because we like helping them. As an example, companies will have in my industry they will sell support packages, thousands of dollars a month, and those will be relatively basic support packages. We are giving those support packages free. So I'm sponsoring. It costs us between 10 to 15% of our revenue to maintain those packages. And the idea is to help our customers with their day-to-day activities. They have questions. They don't need to pay $200 per hour. They can jump on a session 1 to 2 p.m. every day, and they can ask questions. The best people in the game. We are not putting mediocre resources on those sessions. Great people. They need help with architecture. They have questions in anything. We help them with free courses. We sponsor many activities, webinars. I do believe that even if companies are not trying to help their customers, they do need to retain them. They do need to have some kind of a system to connect with them, make sure that the person that they are talking to is all good, or if they have any problems, to try to help them. If not, they will move. There will be client migration in this time. But it's important that before they migrate to a different company, you're catching them and you really try to help them. Some of them will be honest and will say, business is down, I need some help. Some of them will not, but you will need to read between the lines and see how you can really help them. I will tell you a short story. In 2008, I had a security company, IT security company, and when market crashed, there was no more companies that were putting money on IT security, because that was back then. It wasn't like now that you must do that. It's part of the law. But back then it was nice to have. So from multi-million-dollar company, it became to a zero company. Contract disappeared. People that we work with, we called them, they are not existing anymore. They've been fired. All a mess. What we did, we shifted, as you said before, we pivot to a different type of a business, and we sold HTML pages. Because we knew that big companies fired all their HTML people and the basic people, but now they're stuck. They don't have HTML services. We offer them. So for $79, we'll give you a web page. So JVC, Siemens, big companies, they bought those services from us, and we scooped those clients, and therefore we were able to sell them bigger deals because now we are a vendor of record. They work with us. So there are lots of ways to scoop those clients, and I don't want people to scoop your clients because you are not doing the right activities during this time.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of where we started talking, right? Which is like business doesn't stop. And so you have, the deer in the headlights where it's kind of like in protection mode. And some of it is protection mode, but it's not like stopping and waiting for things to get better. I think those are the people that get hit by the train. It's figuring out, okay, I have to pivot. What do I pivot to put the odds in my favor to keep revenue coming in and to keep growing? Because there is, and look, there's some industries that are just going to get clobbered. But there's degree of clobbered, right? So it can go to zero or it can drop 10, 20%. And if you start saving your costs, you start cutting costs, you start being more effective, you start taking care of customers and pointing your cannon where it makes sense. If you have a strategic vendor that's helping you, that you sit down and say, look, these are my challenges. What ideas do you have? And working together with them. Like those are the things that have you move forward. It's not going into 100% protection mode and just stop doing everything until it goes away. That just doesn't make any sense. I don't know any enterprise companies that do that. Although there is cutting, there's definitely cutting. It's cutting and moving forward. It's not just cutting and waiting for something magical to happen.
Yeah, I also look at my business career. The times that I made the most money was recessions, because the first few days for me, not in this one actually, this time I'm okay, but 2008 in COVID, and 2000, back in those times, I had businesses. When something happened, I had 1 month of a shock. So, I'm going to lose the business. What's going on? It's all shocking. And then survival mode came in. Okay, let's kill the market. I'm going to completely annihilate everybody, and I will be the best ever. And that worked well. This time, this is the fourth time that something is going on in the market for me. And we have procedures for everything. We are ready for almost anything that will come our way. So that's fine for us anyway.
Yeah, look, it's not anybody's favorite time,
Oh, of
right?
course, of course.
But it's not something that happens once in a lifetime. I think it's almost like it's almost like New Year's. You can bet it's going to happen on a regular basis. Now, whether that's every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever, there's going to be some big stuff that happens. And it's just pulling out the playbook and just pivoting and operating differently to keep the ball moving forward. I think keep focusing on how to gain rather than how not to lose.
Yep. So everything that we discussed in this meeting, you, me, and David Polsky, our CEO, we already discussed long ago when we saw, probably it was December, we saw that this is coming, already put things in play, started RFPs with government, started, shifting focus to different industries, which everything is well. So that's also part of the game. When you are used to those changes in the marketplace, it's a little bit easier than getting it for the first time, which looks, to me, the first time looked like the end of the world. But now it's just another Sunday, so it's okay.
Yeah, and look, the one thing too with small businesses, like I keep harping on the strategic partner, right? But if you don't have one, you're going at it alone, and it makes no sense. Like we know, look, we know at Enterprise, we've got like 25,000 employees. We know that we don't have all the answers, and there's 25,000 of us. Right. So we look to people at other industries, other suppliers, other vendors that have a certain experience, and we kind of try to bring them in and say, hey, here's what we're facing. What have you ever seen this before? What have you done? How can you help us? And we might accept or not accept their help, but if they're a strategic partner, it's most likely we're definitely gonna work with them. But it's so important that you not try to be the person who has all the answers, because you guaranteed you don't. And so you want to surround yourself with people that look at things from a different perspective and then can give you the guidance, and ultimately the decision's yours. But it's much easier to go through with people who can give you ideas that you haven't thought of.
And I really like when people ask me, hey, what do you use for your web? Or what do you use for, I'm never sharing my strategic partners with anyone, right? So yeah, that's because that's my competitive advantage, right? Getting those different point of view. Someone coming cold, not like me. I'm invested in the business. I'm emotional in the business. They're coming cold with their perspective, with their understanding, with their experience, and they're giving you an advice. That seriously, I never thought about that. That's actually the very good way to go about it. And all those strategic partners coming with lots of value. So I'm with you on that for sure.
Look, there's if you go and see, I learned this like maybe 6 years ago. But if you go on these websites, when you see these customer stories, where it says, "Oh, Coca-Cola is our partner," and HP is our partner, is our customer, and Air Canada is our customer, that's not a strategic vendor. So the strategic vendors that Enterprise have, and they usually limit it to somewhere like 3 to 5, right? They will explicitly tell them, "Nope, you cannot use my name. You can't use my name. You can't use my logo." and you can't share that we're doing business together. So the most they can say is, a company in technology, a big player in technology is our customer, but they can't tell them because they don't want, we don't want our top competitors to know who we're doing business with. You can figure out so much by doing that. So whenever you see that, it's interesting because you look at a company and say, oh, this guy's doing business with Coca-Cola and this company and this company. Wow, this guy must be good. Well, he's not good enough to be a strategic partner because they said, yeah, you can use my logo. I don't care. Tell the world that you did business with us. Who cares?
All the people we work with for long period of time in relationships, they don't advertise that they work with us and we don't talk about them. Because as you said, those strategic partners, they have lots of value, especially in those times, right? Because they can come up with their experience and usually it will be more mature companies and eventually it's people, right? So people that are longer in the business world did some things coming with good value. So Ron, thank you very much for being with me today. I hope that we were able to help people with whatever coming next. And, this is one of those bumps and those bumps will go away and then market will go up. But right now, it's time to take some strategies to get business done.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll do another video when it's over. It's like, hey,
Absolutely.
It's time to pivot. Hopefully that's soon.
Another pivot.
That's right.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you very much.
Thanks, dear. Bye-bye.